Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Discover New Music podcast from us at Pelt Music. Shortly, we'll be chatting with Headcage, who we recently featured over on our Discover New Music playlist on Spotify with their single Gaslight. But before then, the usual reminders from myself. If you would, please do follow Pelt on social media. We're on Facebook at Pelt and on Twitter and Instagram at Pelt Music. And again, if you would, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, wherever you're watching or listening. Well, welcome to Elliot and Leyum from Headcage to the Discover New Music podcast. Absolutely delighted to have you both on this evening. How are you both doing?
Very good, man. Very good. How are you?
Yeah. Well, absolutely love to be able to have a chat with you because we've really enjoyed everything that's come out from the band so far. Obviously, we'll jump in to the first part of the podcast, which is always the same, and then we'll crack on with some of the great stuff coming up. But we always start with the origin story because it is the Discover New Music podcast. So hopefully there'll be some people discovering new music and maybe not familiar with yourselves, checking you out. So for those people not familiar with the band, we give it a superhero-esque name, the origin story. But what is the story of Headcage? How did you guys come together and form the band?
I think this one was me. I think I initiated this one because
Yeah.
I left my old band like in the winter of 2019, like just before sort of everything kicked off with COVID, and like leaving that band and then everything going on with the world, I just hit like a real like low point. But then I also got some sort of hyper focus because all of the recording software started putting out free trials. So I just downloaded and just started writing as many songs as possible. And then I got the urge to sort of put the ad out to try and get more musicians like involved in it. And like I always wanted to play like rock and post-hardcore and heavy music. And I just finally wanted to give it a blast. And then I put an advert out in like June 2020 on Facebook. And I think Liam replied in under 2 minutes.
Instantly. Yes, I seen it. I'm normally not one for like social media either, and I just do it. I opened Facebook and it was the first thing then. I was like, me, I'll do the vocals right now. Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
we have done something in the past. So I think
yeah,
that's what like we were both instantly we spoke about it when we did that years ago. So
yeah. We played a show, like a one-off show, way back in 2016, and we had so much fun with it. But we never like did anything after it.
Mm.
So it was cool to like
yeah,
reconnect this
we
way.
wrote a full set, like 5 songs in maybe like where we had 2 weeks, but we only met up like 5 times,
Yeah.
and we wrote a full set and smashed it. I'm not even gonna lie, we smashed it.
Yeah,
But it was heavier stuff. It was like metalcore stuff, wasn't it?
and yeah, and then our guitar player Adam replied sort of not long after Liam on the same day. So I sent like some demos out that I'd recorded, and then he sent me some, and we were literally trading ideas that same day. As soon as we like put it out, because I knew those guys had been in bands and music projects before, and I knew they could like offer some good stuff. And we wrote like just constantly on Zoom and Skype for the whole pandemic, just remotely, and then got together as soon as like rehearsal rooms were like allowed to be open again. And then we, I remember like the first practice, I'm sure we had masks and like borders, like glass borders between.
Those boards of
Yeah,
like perspex or whatever you call it, like glass.
Amazing.
yeah. And then we trialed a few drummers, and then nobody was fitting right. And then we got into contact with our now drummer Mew, and he lived way, way, way up in Berwick, which is like a good, I'd say, nearly 2 hours drive from us again. But he was straight in on board and never missed a
Yeah.
practice.
We were in a practice one day and we didn't have the drummer we were using.
Mm.
And I remember like obviously Adam used to be in a band with Mew a long time ago. And I've known of Mew for a long time. And I remember just saying, send him this video. And Adam put his phone on us and went, do you wanna join a band like? And that was it. He replied like it was just a video of me going, "Do you want to be in the band?" And that was it. He was in the band. Like the next week he was at practice on the
Yeah.
the next week, like the next practice he was there, and it's like he was there from the start. On it,
Yeah,
it's
it didn't
fits right in.
Yeah, he just completed it, didn't he? And then yeah, we just kept writing away, and then we wrote like we had everything recorded and set up content wise before we launched. So we were writing maybe from like that advert day, we were writing for maybe 3 years before we launched properly as a band. Just because I wanted to do it right. Didn't want to put out anything that wasn't of a certain standard, really.
Yeah.
And I think it did pay off in the long run.
Oh
Yeah.
We had like a back catalogue. We've run out of that back catalogue now. But we had a back catalogue that we just recorded for years.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems to have worked out really, really well, and obviously everything that's come out from the band so far has been just incredible to see and listen to, and obviously listeners can check out quite a few of the singles we've featured over on the playlist, and yeah, it still fascinates me, the bands that obviously came together during that pandemic era. Obviously such a weird time in all of our lives, but yeah, it's great that some positives have come out of it, obviously headcage being one of them, and yeah, obviously moving on to your latest single, which obviously again listeners can check out on the playlist, Gaslight, which obviously is the lead kind of single for the EP that we'll talk about in a minute. But Gaslight itself as a song, what can you tell us about that song, the themes behind the song, and how it came together for you?
If you want to take
Yeah.
the vocals, man.
Well, like it's not just vocals as well. I mean, we record with a guy called George, and he's absolutely amazing. It's in Hot Studios. I couldn't think there. And I mean, he helps us not just record. He does give way input and stuff as well, and he helped us a lot with this song. I think he's phenomenal musician, all in it. But he helped us a lot with this, and then I think that's how the instrumental and stuff came about, and then I kind of just took that instrumental and wrote about stuff. It kind of came quite all right, to be honest, quite naturally. It's the song itself is about a younger me, or just a younger. I mean, still happens now, but always being told you're alright, now, like by your peers, by your family, by doctors and stuff, when you just want help and you don't know that you need help when you're younger. And that's what the whole song's about, really, just being gaslit to being, oh, I'm fine, when you're not. So I mean, it is a pretty touchy subject, but that's why I think we made it a bit fun. It's a bit of a fast song with a stupid video, so but it's a serious song, I guess.
Yeah,
I like the contrast with that though, because when you've got super dark lyrical content with a super like fast pumping adrenaline chorus and just like a straight up circle pit tune, like it makes something positive out of it.
It represents us like to a T, because when we're together, we're the stupidest bunch of people. Like nothing makes sense to outsiders. Nothing's funny. Like, but to us, we're the funniest people ever. But every song is the same. Like, it's all quite sort of, yeah, we've had some funny other stupid videos and stuff as well. But I think it's always quite serious that we write about. The songs are always quite serious, and we kind of deal with it that way. I think we all sort of deal with it with humor and stuff. So.
Yeah, and that's quite often the way. I mean, I'm exactly the same. I deal with a lot of issues with humour, and yeah, the sort of themes behind the song there, yeah, are so important. Obviously, so much progress has been made over sort of recent years in recognising properly like issues, and obviously we just had Mental Health Day, for example, you know, which is obviously a big one, and there's definitely a lot more recognition these days for it's okay not to be okay, and actually, you know, they're still with that rather than, like you say, yeah, you're right, just get on with it. So yeah, no, fantastic message, fantastic song musically as well. I say listeners definitely check it out on the playlist or wherever you stream your music, or obviously the video as well, like we touched on. I'm glad you raised the video actually, because I did have a point down on here. I love
sorry that you had to go through that, mate.
Yeah.
So you had to put yourself through watching that.
No, I love it. I grew up watching music TV, obviously Krang and Scuzz and all of that kind of stuff before or after school. Used to love just sitting there and watching just music video after music video, and it helps build a connection between you and the band, I feel, because you see a bit more into their creative process and everything. And it's a lost art, though. A lot of bands I have on the podcast these days, it's quite often the first thing that gets cut from the budget. And there's just no music video for me to talk about, so I was chuffed to be able to watch it, and it is such a fun video that I've watched it a few times now, just picking up on the little bits that you've sort of put in there. So I mean, how did you come up with the concept for that video, and how did you put it into practice?
Honestly, mate, I genuinely believe it was like almost, I'm going to use the term mental diarrhea. Like, I swear that makes the most sense to me, because whatever popped into our heads, we just sort of rolled with it, and then it just snowballed.
Yeah,
Like,
we're in a Discord group with Isaac, who is Elliot's brother, who does all the videos for us, and he's equally as stupid as well and funny. He's hilarious. So we were just like pinging things backwards and forwards, and the next thing we know, I had a full music video planned. There was no thought really in things. It was just, this is a good idea, this is a good idea. And then Isaac, being the genius he is, was like, send us the song, and then he had it like broken down minute by minute, like second by second, of what's going to go where. And I think we had a lot of other ideas, but we did what we could with it within reason, without like getting Michael Bain or something like. But and the logistics of it all was a bit, because Mew, the drummer, lives down the other side of the country now, so the logistics was a bit hard. So I think I had fun doing it, though. Apart from Elliot absolutely wrecked my throat, absolutely caved us in with that spear or crossbody he did to us, but it was good.
Yeah, when I crossbodied him into the sea, I like made contact elbow first to the throat. So I absolutely wrecked him that day.
And it was like, what, 7 a.m. in South Shields Beach? It was freezing.
Yeah. I bet. But obviously, the end product is a great music video, and obviously I'm glad you mentioned the word fun, because that's what it all should be about. So I'm glad you had fun making it. It certainly looked like you did. And listeners, there'll be a link in the bio of the podcast to go click through to YouTube, and obviously check that one out. And I encourage you all to do so for sure. And obviously, Gaslight, as we said, is the first taste of obviously Under My Skin, your debut EP that is out on October the 20th. So obviously you must be really, really excited to get that out into the world. What would you say listeners should expect from that as a package?
Well, I think obviously I'm super excited because I've never released a body of work before. So like this is like the first for me. But I think obviously I think it sums up what we do perfectly, but shows our like versatility as a band, because we've got like a big sing along chorus, we've got like a fast mosh pit song, we've got like a ballad, we've got like a pretty extensive range of sort of styles going on, but it still sounds like a cohesive unit together. So I think it just helps summarize where we're at right now. And I think we're like maturing as songwriters as we go along, and this kind of like puts the first sort of like stamp in the book, I guess, for the band. And I'm proud of it.
I'm the same. I would say the same, but I'm really excited for people to hear the actual track Under My Skin. Like that's a song, as Elliot said, there's a lot of variation on the actual body of work, but I think Under My Skin, out of all the songs we've done, is probably the one that's closest to my heart. So I can't wait for people to hear that one. That's my baby, that one.
Yeah, the title track. I definitely like keep the ears open for the title track.
Yeah.
The cool thing about that is my girlfriend came and sung backing vocals on the chorus and outro, and she did an amazing job. It sounds great. Yeah. So that's a cool tidbit for anyone listening. Listen out for like the vocal harmonies in the chorus, because it really helped like sort of make it what it is, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely sounds like listeners really do need to check out the EP, and obviously it's great that you obviously have been able to put that together and get it out there. And obviously, Elliot, you said first sort of body of work that you're putting out there in particular. Obviously, as far as that, the whole process of putting it together, recording it and agreeing the sort of package that comes around it, how did you find that whole process? Especially as it's kind of your first time doing it, I guess.
Like obviously writing the songs, I feel like initially that's the easy part. It's like the fine tuning that makes it difficult. So I won't pretend it wasn't a tough process at times, especially like just with like general logistics and like just the cost of living and just trying to like work out your time and money. That's by far the most difficult thing about being in the band anyway. But it is worth it. Like it is really worth it when you look at the bigger picture and think about what you've actually done. And like it's just like a piece of art out there that you can forever be proud of now, which would and it'll never go.
Yeah.
So that's what's important. That'll last forever. And sort of the difficulties that you do go through are only temporary. And that's like really sometimes hard to remember, but I'm trying to remind myself every day that like it's only temporary and like the big fun is yet to come.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have happened without Elliot. So, like, he is the arrowhead of this whole thing. I'm terrible with it. I'll more than happy to sit and write songs and sing and stuff like that, but I'm an absolute ghost when it comes to a lot of stuff. I'm just terrible. And Elliot he's like the dude that's like, right, come on, herds the cats, so to say, and gets us sorted. So it's this boy. Well, he's down here on my screen. This boy down here is very special.
I appreciate it. It doesn't come without its stresses, but I wouldn't change it because I love doing it, and I know it's got to be done. So I think I think it's worked out for us so far. So I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, I guess. So
Yeah, no, it definitely seems to be working out. Obviously, everything that's come out from the band, as I say, has been really enjoyable to listen to and to see. And obviously, we are passionate about new music, hence we have this podcast. And definitely, you seem to be going about things the right way. So definitely continue what you're doing. And obviously, listeners, 100% check out Under My Skin, the EP, and in particular, obviously the title track as it comes out. And there will be a chance to catch the band live, and we'll dig into obviously the shows you've got coming up in just a second. But I did make a note as well. You obviously played the Make a Scene festival earlier this summer, which I watched from afar. I couldn't make it up, but the lineup was like fantastic. So I just wanted to gauge, obviously, how you think that went for you.
honestly, that was one of my favorite shows of the year,
Yeah,
hands down. Like
yeah,
we were opening the stage, so I just didn't know. Like there's always those like nerves when you open a stage. Oh, is anyone going to be there? And at first, because there was a band opposite us at the main stage, and we were the second stage, and they were opposite, so it was back to back. And like a band kicked off the main stage first, and like the room, it just felt like it wasn't full because they had a security issue, and they weren't letting people in despite the time. The band's time was there was a bit of a mix up involving all that. So they got really sort of like done in by it. And I was like really nervous because we were about to go on. I was like, oh, there's no one here.
yeah.
But
Well, we got on, and I
yeah,
remember being on, and like we were maybe like 30 seconds into the first song, and I was looking up, and I was like, okay, it's not. I mean, we've played a less, I guess. I've definitely played a less people. And then I looked down as I was hitting some. I was like, I don't know, to get into the song or something. I was just like, right, but I'll just have fun anyways. Doesn't matter who's there or not. And then I just looked up a second later, and the room was full, and I was like, okay, let's go. And there was like phones out and stuff. It was like one extreme to the other, and I was like, that's sick.
that's exactly the same experience for me. I felt like I just looked down at my bass, then looked up and saw it front to back rammed, and I was like, "Oh hell yeah, man, let's go!" It was such a good day, man. There were so many good bands. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what was wild about that day, because we had another festival booked like that afternoon. We were playing Make a Scene, opening that stage, and then flying up to Sunderland to play a BBC Introduction stage. But it got the weather sort of like cancelled it, because it was
Oh,
like a full scale storm. So, and it was an outdoor one, so they had to cancel it. So we got the phone call, and we were like, "All right, sound, it's fair enough." They said they were still going to pay us the fee, so they do really good of them, to be fair.
yeah.
Then we were like, "Oh no, we get to stay and watch all these amazing bands."
Terrible.
Like,
Yeah, we were so like we wanted to play it. Obviously, we were looking forward to
Yeah.
playing on the show, and it was the first time we'd ever played 2 shows in one day. Still haven't, I guess, but it was a relief because
I
there
bet.
was a lot of my friends' bands that were playing that I really wanted to see, and so I got to see them. But we were all like, "Oh no!" But yeah, like at the same time, it was like bittersweet. So it
What
was a
about,
relief.
there's a few standout bands from that day I want to shout out. One, there was a band that the band that opened the main stage, Tired of Fighting. They were really good,
Oh,
and they
fantastic!
deserved more people there.
Yeah,
Um, Starved, Starved Collective. They were sick. There's a heavy band called Creek who are great.
oh,
It's like
Creek, some boys.
it's like gen horror. It's great. You should check them out, Creek.
Yeah.
And then
They've
obviously
just released something not long ago as well. They've just released
the debut album in
yeah,
it.
debut album. Yeah, that's the one. It's absolutely phenomenal. Like for a local band, you listen, you're like, nah, these are
Hmm.
too good to be local. Like,
And obviously there was like the classic bands on later, like Harriet and Dream State and Trash Boat, who are all just like top tier at their game.
Yeah.
It's great to like watch them do what they do and get a good schooling on how to be a good live band, really. But
yeah, we smashed it as well, man.
yeah, no, we did. I was very happy with how it went. Like we played well that day. But shout out to Ash, who organizes that, because he's got good intentions, really good
Oh yeah.
intentions behind it. Like he believes in just doing it right. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so important to have people like that in the industry, because it is tough out there. I mean, cost of living crisis. I mean, people that decide to put on a festival like that these days, they're doing it because they love it or they're mad. One of the two, because they're not really doing it to make money. And obviously, it was a killer lineup, and hopefully the festival goes on to have all the success in the world, because the UK needs more alternative festivals like that for sure. So I'm so chuffed you had a good time, and it's funny how things work out. Obviously, sad that the other show got cancelled, but then you got to stay and check out all those cool bands. So yeah, it's funny how things work out. And also, obviously, you said you were worried you weren't going to have any fans. You're definitely going to have some fans on your shows coming up, because I know Newcastle sold out by the looks of it already.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a good sign. I'm sure there's going to be some fans there. But you're playing Glasgow, Manchester, Newcastle, and London for the EP release shows. So how excited are you to get out and play? And what should the audience expect? What would the fans coming along get to see?
I mean, for me, that's like the best thing about being in a band is just playing. So
Yeah.
I just want to play, man. That's like
Yeah.
the simple down to brass tacks is just playing music and with your friends. That's the most important thing to me. Again, amongst having to do everything else, mostly yourself, that's something you can overlook. But just the simple joy of playing is what I'm looking forward to most,
Yeah.
especially like the Newcastle show, because people always, it always blows my mind how many people come to the shows that we've done who I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's great to just see people there. It's just
But it sold out fairly quickly, and
yeah.
it is. I keep getting messages. Is there any more tickets? And I'm like, no. And like these are people I don't even know, and I'm like, I can't get you a ticket, and they're like, can you not get us in? I'm like, I mean, I think it's past legal capacity, so we can't, like. But it isn't like the biggest venue, but I've never played at the newer little buildings, so I'm excited to see how that
Yeah.
goes.
The whole point of it is we're just playing a bunch of tiny rooms. Just get it pure sweaty. Just make it a blast, make it rowdy as hell.
We need to play the Clooney again though, because that was phenomenal.
Yeah, there's some good venues in Newcastle.
There is, yeah.
Really good venues that often get overlooked just because of just because of the north, it generally gets overlooked with a lot of things. So I feel it's good to like sort of help put them on the map a bit. I definitely like to sort of like represent.
I'm excited to play London because that venue's a bit insane for us to be playing, I feel. So
yeah, proper good dive bar, the K pit.
Yeah, it's the K pit. Like I've never been, but I've watched some of my favorite bands on YouTube, like full sets there and stuff, you know. So
same. It'll be weird to see it in person.
Yeah.
I've seen that many like full sets on the K pit. Like it'd be cool to actually play one.
There is one sort of aspect of it that I'm a bit like, oh crap or shit about is I've never played more than one show like in a row. So I'm sort of excited yet worried to see how I can hold up to play 3 shows in 3 nights. So...
we're still at early days with all that stuff. Like all the the simple things like that are like still new to us, obviously. Like it sounds so like non-crazy, but like playing multiple shows in a row is like a big deal for us. We've only been public as a band not long over a year. So it's just like taking all these new things in.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm sure you'll be fine. You were going to play 2 shows in a day.
yeah. Adrenaline and on the same day is fine. But we're fortunate though, because I wasn't going to be able to get the time off work either. So we were going to have to play. Is it Glasgow, Manchester, then Newcastle? Say I'm terrible at this stuff. It is.
That's the one. Yeah.
I was going to have to finish work on 5 o'clock, get a train to Glasgow, play the show, get a train back, go to work the next day. 5 o'clock, train to Manchester, train back, and then Saturday to play the Newcastle. So I was more worried about how being that tired from the traveling, but I just put my foot down and I was like, look, I'm a rock star, need the time off. I'm not getting paid for it, but you know, still.
We owe Liam some dedication points for this one.
You do.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm glad they listened to you, Liam. Definitely. That's a valid excuse. I think anyone should be able to use that to get time off work. Definitely.
Rockstar card. Like
it is me in-laws as well. I work for my in-laws. So like, but I don't get as much leeway as you think. So
well, hopefully they'll keep it up, because obviously as everything is looking rosy for the band. You know, it's a big milestone, obviously, getting to play these release shows and obviously getting that debut EP out there. So there's so much exciting stuff going on with Headcage, and obviously, listeners need to get involved. And these days, you can do that obviously on social media. That's the main place to go. So we always give out the social handles, and yours are relatively easy for me to give out, which is appreciated, because sometimes they get really complex these days because all social handles are just taken already. But you've done pretty well. Obviously, Twitter is Headcage UK, nice and simple. Instagram headcage.uk, which again is pretty simple.
I tried to get that UK in, but it wasn't letting me, man.
So frustrating. Facebook, you've gone Headcage Band on Facebook, so I'm guessing obviously someone has stolen the that
was the hardest one, man.
I mean, it is because there is one other band that we didn't know until after we had done everything as Headcage and branded everything. There was one other band that isn't active anymore called Headcage, who have the original Headcage Instagram and stuff like that. So
I think they were active 4 years ago, and it looks, by the looks of it, they've got 1 monthly listener. So it might have been just a random project or something.
And
they're just
fun fact, they were from where Elliot's from.
Yeah.
We didn't, because when we played in York, one of the guys who came to watch were like, "Did you know there was a band back in the day called Headcage from Malton?" And I was like, "That's who we must have seen when we've looked for it online." So
that blew my mind when I found out about that. It was I swear to God, there's absolute zero plagiarism going on here in our brains. It just blew. It's all coincidence, and technically, it doesn't count if they're not a thing anymore, right?
Yeah. No, exactly. I think
they're going to wait until we blow up, come back and sue her.
Yeah, probably.
That's all right. I'll copy. I'm sure I checked it even might have went forward and tried to copyright headcage with all lowercase.
So yeah, obviously, you know, so much exciting stuff going on with headcage, and listeners definitely need to follow you on social media, and come along to a date if you can, if it's not already sold out. Definitely do that. And obviously, just to finish off the live side of things, on this podcast we always end with a section called Setlist Science, because I am a setlist geek. And I just love set lists. So the question for the section is, how much importance do you place into the structure of your set lists? And have you got any rules that you tend to follow?
We do actually.
Yeah.
Like, we tend to think about it a bit. Like, we've definitely had a lot of, like, we definitely discuss it a lot, like, before we're planning, especially, like, if it's something new like this, we might switch it up. So we'll bear in mind, like it's obviously super important to have a good opener, and like how to keep the energy going after the opener. And then the real dilemma is to how to fit in your more mellow ones between like the energetic ones. That's like, I always thought of it as like a W. You know, you start massive, then sort of bring down, bring up in the middle, then back down, then up at the end. Like, I got told about this W method years ago. I feel like that's a good way of describing it.
That's kind of how we do it. It always, like, you start with a bang, tone it down a little bit, hit them again, tone it down a little bit, and then go even bigger. So that the flick on the end of the W is bigger than the starting, and tends to work, I guess.
It does. It is a great technique.
Yeah, you never want like a plateau in your set. Like, you never want it to be straight. You need it to have peaks and troughs. Is that the word? There we go. I think that's how we. But we do have sat there and being like, this should go here, this should go here. Be thinking, because like the crowd and how it'll like sort of play out sort of in the gig. We have. I think it's quite important, and we do sit and do it. So
yeah. Like, it obviously, all of that comes with, it's always like audience first, like how the crowd are going to perceive like the sets, like how to keep the energy up. But obviously you have to bear in mind like logistics a bit. Like, say we've got one that's a different tuning, so it's just getting it to line up in like a way which doesn't allow for too much dead air, or like you know, like a plateau, as you said before, or like for you, for vocally, say like if there's a super big one, you know, like you don't follow it with another mega one or something. Like, it's just stuff to think about, like little logistic things like that. But it is mostly audience led. Yeah,
which is a great attitude, because obviously, like you say, playing music is all about enjoying it and having fun, and obviously it is the best bit of the industry. But obviously, then you've got these customers, I suppose, to put it into the business frame, and obviously they need to be able to have a good time as well. So it's a great attitude, obviously, that you got, I think.
I mean, we'd be now without an audience.
Exactly.
So,
I would still play. I think we'd still play, but like
we'd play to the bar. We would play to the bar staff, but you know, they might not be enjoying it that much. You know, if they're there for working anyway. You know,
they're being paid to be there, though. So.
We say that when we played Norway, the bar staff were in the pit. So
nice.
That's
yeah.
That was mega.
Excellent. You definitely passed the test, as it were, for setlist science. Definitely. It sounds like you're on it. And the last question we've added in, because it became a bit of an internet meme for a little while, and obviously you may not have had to sort of have the dilemma yourselves yet, but you might do with these release shows. Who knows? It's encores. So, in your opinion, do you think encores, yes or no? Should they be there?
Yeah. I mean, we've like, when we played Berwick, we went out knowing it was going to happen. So like, not being like, but so we planned to play when you song Gaslight at the very end. Like, we added that. We're like, right, we'll make space for that because it's a close venue. We know a lot of people who, like, well, everyone knows Mew because he's from there. They're always crazy, the guys who come from Berwick. So we knew it was gonna. So we did plan an encore, I guess, for that.
It's a funny one because in theory, in theory, I'd rather just play until I have to leave.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
So, but it seems to be like still a thing, even though like I don't feel like it needs to be there. Personally, for me, I don't feel right chanting one more song if I'm in the crowd. Like it feels cringe to me.
Yeah.
But if people want to shout it, we'll
if
play
people are
one more
shouting
song.
it, like who are we to like know take that
Well,
away from an audience?
In Berwick, I think it's happened a few times, but in recent memory in Berwick, we like played Gaslight as like well, here's one more song for you, and then we asked for another one, so we played Side by Side. So we played Side by Side as an opener, played the full set, and then did Gaslight and then Side by Side as a finisher as well because they wanted to hear it again. So I'm all for that. People shout the songs and we'll play them. That's what I feel like.
And organic encores like that, I still think it's definitely a place for that. It is a funny one, like you say, going off and just waiting to the side for a little while and then coming back on. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tradition, isn't it? I'm still mixed. I'm still mixed on them.
I mean, we're always standing there with everyone's got their instruments and stuff. Still, we've never walked off stage and come back on yet. I think once you're off stage, you're off stage. But like, yeah, it's always when we've literally just played the last note of the last song, and people are like, okay, so we'll play another one. So
it tends to seem to hit more with like legacy acts now. Like I feel like they subscribe to that. And if I was that size, yeah, of course, let's go. I'll go off and give them a bit of drama.
Yeah,
absolutely. If I'm ever at that point, sign me up for an encore.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love the answers, and always fascinating to get that sort of insight on the podcast. And obviously, it's been an absolute pleasure, chatting through everything with you. Gaslight, obviously, on the playlist. Listeners, check that one out. The video as well, the EP that's coming out, the live dates. I say so much great stuff going on with Headcage, and definitely, the future is bright. We always hand the final message just over to the guests. So what would be your final message for the listeners today?
You give them something, Liam, and then I'll give them something.
I mean, to people who are actually listening to us and have either came here because they've listened to us or they've came here and then found us sort of because of this, like, it's just thank you for listening to the music and keep your eye out for your eye out for the next sort of few songs, the next few months, and follow us into New Year because I think we've got some big stuff. Like as a band, we've really matured, and the sound coming out now is a lot different. So not different, but you'll get it in the next few months. Like if you just keep following us.
To be fair, I can't really say anything more. That's kind of exactly what I was going to say. So
perfect.
Yeah, exactly what he said. We're writing new material right now. It's slow going, but we're getting there. And what's coming out is like stuff I'm more excited about than anything, even that we're releasing next week. Like it's exciting me more than anything. Just like for like future bodies of work and future material. It's going down a direction that I'm really, really happy with. So I guess just keep eyes fixed on us, and thank you anyone who is supporting the band in any way. It does really get noticed, especially at this level. It really gets noticed.
Get some merch. We've got merch available. It's on all of our socials. There's a link there.
That helps us. That helps us afford to eat as well as do this. Because let's face it, we're all skint. So that would help us, maybe record a new song and get a meal that day.
Yeah, you one day in the studio in a Tesco meal deal or a Morrison salad bar, even better.
Yeah. Morrison salad bar, definitely.
Pure flavors, man.
Yes. No, absolutely echo the sentiments you said, and listeners definitely follow the band and head along to a show and buy merch, buy physical releases as and when they emerge. Definitely. And obviously to you both, just thank you so much, obviously, for coming on the podcast and sharing all of that great stuff with us.
Thank you for having us.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. I really do hope you enjoyed that chat there of Headcage. Do make sure you check out their latest single Gaslight over on our Discover New Music playlist. And of course, check out the band's debut EP, Under My Skin. And of course, follow the band on social media to stay up to date with everything coming from them. You can also stay up to date with Full Pelt. We're on Facebook at Full Pelt and on Twitter and Instagram at Full Pelt Music. And finally, if you would, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, wherever you're watching or listening, because we'll be back very soon with another episode of the Discover New Music podcast.